This is a Brooklyn-bound 2 train. The next stop is Wall Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend. This is Not Your Advisor with NYU Grad on September 30th. Hope you had a great day as well. We have a little bit less to cover on the quantitative side, the X's and O's of this sport of trading. So I'm going to just preface and say, if you're short on time and you don't want to hear my commentary, you can probably skip it. I am going to cover some charts, but it won't be like 30 plus charts today. For free members, stick around. We'll probably cover more free than paid today. I want to open up with a quick warning / reminder that tonight at 12:01 after midnight New York Eastern Time, we will likely have a port strike on the East Coast going all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, which may snarl some of the inventory that you are ordering on Amazon or buying at Walmart or at your dealerships. So that should start tonight. I will share a video of Harold Taggart, who is the international president of the Longshoremen's Association. He's basically saying, F it, we're going to strike if the administration enacts the Taft Act, which forces us to go back to work. We'll go back to work and we'll do the minimum. We're not going to hustle. And after that period is over, we'll probably just go on strike again. So this has a potential risk economically. And it's inflationary because everything that gets delivered through these ports, the prices will go up as supply goes down. So expect that to happen starting tonight after midnight. Another thing that's just happening overall, if you're into astronomy, or if you're not, this might be interesting to you, just to learn something new. October is bringing together a confluence of astronomical phenomena or alignments. So I'm going to post an image of my wife and I 2 years ago at Zion National Park. One of the great trips of my life, being a city boy, living most of my life in Manhattan and New York City. It's hard to see stars. Even if you go upstate New York, you just really don't see stars. And most of my travel around the world has been cities for work. So when we went to Zion National Park, and it's surprising because a few years prior to that, we went to Banff National Park up in Canada, and I did not see the Milky Way as I did when I went to Zion. And we stayed at Under Canvas, which is like a glamping resort where it's very upscale glamping type of situation. And right outside of our tent, as we were checking into Under Canvas, I looked up and there it was, the Milky Way. I could not believe it. I thought I was seeing things at first because my eyes were adjusting to the darkness of the Zion evening. But there it was, our Milky Way, and it was almost a religious experience for me. When you live in a big city and there's a heavy population, you have this weird phenomena where you still feel alone amidst all of the population, and it's just always busy, and you just become accustomed to busy noises, busy sounds, busy lights, garbage trucks at night. And I've gotten used to that rhythm, right? It's just part of oxygen for me. But just standing there under the stars and seeing our galaxy, our Milky Way, and thinking about where we all sit within it, it just made me feel small, but also big. It's a real crazy phenomenon. If you've seen the Milky Way with your naked eyes or not, let me know in the poll that I posted in today's show notes. One photo is my wife and I under the stars at a Zion stargazing excursion that we did. It was really unbelievable. And the second photo is the Milky Way by Deborah Lee Solsets. So, the Milky Way, you can't really capture it on your camera phone. So I posted it there. And this is semi-market related because I believe the markets are basically just psychology of humans, right? Because whether you're trading 3 lots or whether you're trading billions of dollars through a trade desk, It's all humans creating these trades and algorithms and programming. There's a lot of astronomical events lining up right now, and I'll just go through this really quick. October 2nd, we have a solar eclipse. All of the planets of Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn are in alignment. Right now, actually it started in September 29th, over the weekend, yesterday, an asteroid dubbed 2024 PT5 is now in the orbit of Earth's gravity for 2 months. So obviously this asteroid is no bigger than probably a house. I'll have to double check that, but it's not the size of the moon. But astronomy and astrology are dubbing this as a mini moon orbiting the Earth, and technically we now have 2 moons, and this can impact animal spirits and just human nature. Obviously the moon impacts the tides and many other natural elements. Also estimated in October, there potentially could be a naked eye through a satellite, or potentially just your naked eye if you have no light pollution, a nova explosion that is viewable from Earth that is 3,000 light years away. The last time this happened was 1946 with the same system, roughly 80 years. So this might be a once-in-a-lifetime event, depending on how old you are. So for those that don't know, a supernova is the death of a star. It completely explodes and pretty much becomes a black hole, and it's dead. A nova is a rebirth. So a dormant star re-explodes over and over again after a certain amount of time. So that could be happening in October. We've been waiting for it since like April. So it's late. Astronomy is not a millisecond science. So it could happen October, November, December, but we're all waiting for it. So a lot of these astronomical events are aligning. And I'm not such a big believer in astrology as in like Pisces, Scorpio, Aries, Sagittarius, all that stuff. But I do believe that we are a small part of this larger universe, and things like gravitational pull, things like the moon, the tides, all do impact us on a cerebral, spiritual level. And if the markets are just human emotions and it impacts people, it must impact prices. So we may see more volatility this month. And if you don't like astrology or don't appreciate it, just skip it. Just press fast forward. And that brings me to the next thing. I wasn't sure if I was going to cover this. It's been almost 48 hours since I've dealt with this on Substack. But over the weekend, I did lose a paying subscriber. And one of my early paying subscribers. And keep in mind, in all context, it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal to me. Because again, I want to back up. Substack, the podcast, my writing, it's all of a passion project. I'm spilling my guts and my knowledge out into the world, hoping folks will follow, subscribe for free, or upgrade to paid. If you do, great. If you don't, great. It's okay. I don't care. But I got a comment on one of my posts that I talked about New York City and the corruption and what's going on with our mayor. And I was very, in my opinion, I was very bipartisan. I wasn't taking a political side, red or blue, left, right. It was just matter of fact. New York is falling apart. And I talked about it for maybe 4 minutes and 30 seconds on that podcast. But it was just too much, I guess, for the subscriber. And they had commented publicly at night that saying, hey, it's a shame. I just want market commentary. I don't want to hear about this non-market commentary, and it makes me avoid the content altogether. So I gave that paying subscriber a prorated refund. I thank them for their time thus far, and I wish them well. And I replied to her comment publicly before deleting it because I slept on it. I was like, I don't know if her or his public comment was adding value to the public discourse. Did it help free or paying members? Did it help me? Did my reply help me communicate with others? And I didn't see any benefit of leaving it. either the subscriber's comment or my reply. But I wanted to be upfront with everyone that I'm not going to be able to make everybody happy all the time, right? Like, I'm not making bagels and donuts here. If you want, a vegan donut, sugar-free donut, triple sprinkled donut, cream filling donut, or a plain bagel, everything bagel, cream cheese, lox, butter. Like, no, like I'm not a retail establishment. I am spilling my knowledge, my observations, my views into the world. And I'm trying to help folks see the markets through my lens. And I won't apologize for who I am, because that is what makes the lens that I see the markets through. So let's keep peeling the onion. Over the weekend, just a quick reminder, I did post just a quick browsing of the Cara 100. Bill Cara will be releasing a subscription service with alerts, with entry points. Once I have more details and timing, I will do everything I can to share how to get access to that paid subscription service. I'm also working on some type of discount for everyone that is a subscriber. So yes, tonight is the port strike, and that's political, right? But it impacts our wallets. Let's deep dive into today's action. I want to cover breadth and go back to more of what happened today. If I had to summarize the day, today was the end of quarter, end of month. Jerome Powell got on the podium, said his magic words. Initially, we sold off, which is quite rare. However, after he spoke, we continued to sell off, and then we just kind of bottomed, and we rallied into the session. We closed the highs of the day. I just want to remind folks that don't understand this. Today is September 30th, end of the month, end of the quarter, and statements have to be emailed out. Wall Street has to earn their bonus. And what this is basically called is painting the tape to make themselves look good. Looking at breadth, we had 647 new highs versus 133 new lows. 50% of stocks were advancing versus 46% declining on the NYSE. 27% of shares were below their respective 50-day. 31% of shares were below their respective 200-day. For the session, majority of Mag 7 closed green or even. Microsoft up 0.5%, Apple up 2.25%, Google up 1%, Meta almost 1%, Tesla about 0.5%. Amazon was down 0.87%, most likely because of this port strike, but Walmart curiously closed up 1.2%. Nvidia basically even, Nothing Burger up 0.03%. So it just basically was even for the day. Taking a quick look at sectors, communication services led to the upside, 0.75%. Real estate about 0.5%. Healthcare up 0.46%. Utilities up 0.34%. Industrials up 0.33%. Tech up 0.33%. Energy up 0.31%. Financials up 0.19%. So it was really muted day for the most part. Everyone was just waiting on bated breath for Jerome Powell. A lower totem pole Fed head, Bostic, bless him, but he was basically saying, if unemployment gets worse, we're open to jumbo rate cuts. If it rains, you might need an umbrella. Thanks for the obvious. So that happened today. If you take a look at the ES contract, which is the S&P futures, I'll post in the show notes for premium members the 4-hour chart. Since the rate cut announcement September 18th and then the subsequent rally on September 19th, we have literally gone nowhere. We've gone sideways with the overnight hockey stick saves and daytime distributions. Today was the first time that overnight, Sunday night, we did not have a hockey stick. I believe everyone was just gorging on the buffet of China. China had quite an evening last night. That usually never lasts, by the way. So what was strong and what was weak? Let's go through what was strong in the S&P and NASDAQ. I'm going to try to deduplicate some of these tickers because they sometimes exist in both. In the S&P, you had SOLV up 3.18%, Intuitive Surgical ISRG up 2.8%, Generac Holdings up 2.6%, CBS up 2.3%, Apple 2.29%, FedEx bouncing 2.29%, GE Healthcare 2.16%, Public Storage up 2.05%, and GE Vernova up 2.02%. In the NASDAQ, you had Apple 2.28%, which is also in the S&P. Intuitive Surgical was also in the S&P up 2.82%. Horrible job deduping this. All three of these NASDAQ names are also in the S&P. What was weak in the S&P? Dollar Tree down 3.8%, Micron 3.9%, Ulta Beauty 3.6%, GE 3.5%, Western Pharmaceutical Services 3.4%, Dollar General 3.1%, Lululemon 3.1%, Lamb Weston Holdings 2.9%, Freeport McMoran 2.7%, Boeing 2.7%, First Solar 2.4%, Baxter 2.42%, On Semiconductor 2.38%, Celanese Corp 2.3%, Intel 2.2%, Ansys 2.1%, Norwegian Cruise Lines 2.1%, JBL 2.05%, Ford 2.13%, NXP Semiconductors 2%. What was weak in the NASDAQ? Micron 3.95%. These are all duplicates. Look at that. Every single one is a duplicate. So I will post all of this for the premium members. Free members, now is not the time to go YOLO long. I know the FOMO is so strong, especially in China. Alibaba up like 9% in the session. I know FOMO is strong. I know your mom and grandmother are calling you about, should you buy Nvidia? Just stay in safety. Watch the Mag 7. They're all in above the 50 days, so that's bullish. So if you're in a bullish position, you can hold, but just watch the Mag 7, watch yields, and just stay in safety. Do not overtrade. Premium members, please stay on. I'd like to cover some macro charts, and we'll call it a day. That's my train.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.